Why don't you like Tiger Woods?
Well, I mean, obviously, you can't like everybody. I think that there's people that you connect with, and there's people that you don't.
The amount of money that you've said you've lost gambling, you wrote you've lost $55 million gambling over the years. How's that even possible?
Stupidity, but it is. I mean,
5 PGA players chose chaos over championships. These attention seekers turned controversy into currency, and the sport will never be the same. Modern golf changed when cameras caught every tantrum and social media rewarded every meltdown. Skill alone was no longer enough. Some players realized that being hated paid better than being ignored. They chose notoriety over respect, controversy over class. What they did to stay famous crossed lines the sport had never seen crossed before. John Daly turned self-destruction into entertainment. He won the 1991 PGA Championship as a 9th alternate, a fairy tale story that should have launched a legendary career. Instead, he chose a different path. He broadcast his demons to the world and got paid for it. Daly admitted losing $55 million gambling, not in private therapy sessions, but in televised interviews where he bragged about playing slots for 2 days straight. He recounted blowing major championship winnings within hours of lifting the trophy. These were not confessions. They were marketing materials. The bigger the loss, the more fascinating he became. He understood that fans did not want a role model. They wanted a cautionary tale they could watch without blinking. His relationship with alcohol was equally public. He played tournaments hungover and possibly drunk. He smoked cigarettes mid-round to steady his nerves and drank Diet Coke like water to fight the shakes. This was not hidden. It was part of his brand. The country club elite wore collared shirts and spoke in whispers. Daly wore a mullet and lived out loud. The course meltdowns made him a viral sensation before viral was even a word. At the 2011 Australian Open, he hit every ball in his bag into the water and then walked off. He refused to take penalty drops during tournaments, stubbornly firing shot after shot into hazards until his bag was empty. One time, he took an 18 on a single hole. The footage became a highlight reel, not of his victories, but of his collapse. He teed balls up on beer cans during exhibitions. The stunt was perfect. It merged his alcoholism with his power game in one visual joke that every sports network wanted to show. He was not just drinking and golfing. He was performing drinking and golfing. When criticized, Daly always gave the same defense. I am who I am. That phrase became his shield. It suggested his chaos was not a choice, but a fixed personality trait. You cannot blame a man for being himself, even when himself is a disaster. He discussed his 4 failed marriages on camera. He talked about throwing furniture and destroying hotel rooms. None of it hurt him. His fans loved him more for it. Even decades after his last major win, Daly stayed relevant. He appeared on podcasts with influencers, drank on camera with the Nelk Boys, and discussed his personal life with anyone holding a microphone. A generation that never saw him compete knew him as the drunk guy who used to be good at golf. That was fame without performance. That was $55 million well spent. Here is the question worth asking. Should golf reward players who turn addiction into entertainment? Drop your answer below and hit subscribe if you think this sport deserves better than circus acts. Sergio Garcia built his fame on rage and victimhood. From the moment he emerged as El Nino, he displayed emotional instability that bordered on pathological. Unlike Daly, whose chaos was internal, Garcia aimed his outward, at the world, at the courses, at anyone who refused to recognize his supposed brilliance. Garcia spent his career insisting the universe conspired against him. The golf gods, the course architects, the media, everyone was out to get Sergio. This victim narrative kept him in headlines even when his game fell apart. He did not just lose majors, he blamed the majors for his losses. The defining moment came at the 2019 Saudi International. Garcia was disqualified for serious misconduct after intentionally damaging 5 putting greens. Witnesses said the scuff marks looked like deer or camel tracks. This was not a momentary outburst. This was sustained vandalism designed to ruin the course for everyone behind him. The greens did not bend to his will, so he physically destroyed them. He became the first player on the European Tour disqualified for such behavior. His apology was weak. He admitted damaging a couple of greens, as if admitting to a minor mistake instead of desecrating a playing surface. Then there was the spitting incident. At the 2007 WGC Championship at Doral, Garcia missed a short putt, walked to the cup, and spat into it. When confronted with video evidence, he claimed he did not spit but just let it go down. He said it was not a big deal and would not affect anyone else. Except the next player had to reach into his bodily fluids to retrieve their ball. That is biological disrespect. That is the ultimate violation of golf etiquette, and Garcia denied it happened even with cameras rolling. His ugliest moment involved race. During a feud with Tiger Woods that existed mostly in his own head, Garcia was asked at a 2013 awards dinner if he would invite Woods to dinner during the upcoming US Open. His reply was calculated and cruel. "We will have him round every night. We will serve fried chicken." The comment echoed Fuzzy Zoeller's racist remark from 1997. It tapped into decades of racial caricature aimed at Woods. Tiger responded swiftly, calling the comment wrong, hurtful, and clearly inappropriate. Garcia held awkward press conferences claiming it was totally stupid and out of place. But damage was done. His fiery Latin persona was revealed as a mask for casual cruelty. When Garcia joined LA Golf, he left the same way he played, angry. After learning he would be fined for playing in the conflicting event, he screamed at fellow players in the locker room. "This tour is terrible. You are all doomed." Should have taken the Saudi money. He did not wave goodbye. He cursed everyone on his way out the door, ensuring his exit was as controversial as every other moment of his career. Patrick Reed chose to be hated. Unlike players who stumbled into infamy, Reed strategically embraced the villain role. He thrived on conflict and built his identity around being the guy everyone wanted to lose. He called himself Captain America during Ryder Cups, wrapping aggression in a patriotic flag. But beneath that flag was a reputation for behavior most players found unforgivable. Reed's problem started in college. His single year at the University of Georgia became the stuff of legend for all the wrong reasons. Teammates accused him of stealing from the locker room, a Scotty Cameron putter, a watch, $400 in cash. When confronted about the money, Reed claimed he hustled a professor on the golf course. Teammates checked. The professor denied ever playing with Reed. The lie was exposed immediately. There was also an incident during a qualifying round where Reed was seen preparing to hit a ball much closer to the fairway than the one he actually hit into deep rough. When teammates confronted him, he played dumb. They were convinced they caught him cheating red-handed. Reed was eventually dismissed from the team. He claimed it was for alcohol violations. Assistant coaches cited character issues in affidavits. They realized he would not mesh with the team's values. That cloud followed him forever. On the PGA Tour, Reed was involved in two major incidents that cemented his reputation. At the 2019 Hero World Challenge, cameras caught him taking practice swings in a waste bunker that swept away significant sand from behind his ball. He was penalized 2 strokes. His defense was that the camera angle was misleading, despite physics proving otherwise. The international team at the President's Cup mocked him with digging gestures. Reed became a punchline. Then came Torrey Pines in 2021. Reed hit a ball into deep rough. Before a rules official arrived, he marked and lifted the ball to check if it was embedded. Video replay showed the ball had bounced, making it impossible to plug. By lifting the ball before verification, Reed destroyed evidence of the lie. He was granted relief anyway and won the tournament. The victory was tainted. Fans and peers accused him of manipulating the identification rule to escape a bad lie. Reed's response to the villain narrative was to sue. He filed multi-million-dollar defamation lawsuits against journalists, commentators like Brandel Chambly, and media outlets. He claimed a conspiracy existed to destroy his reputation. The lawsuits were seen as frivolous attempts to intimidate critics. By suing the press, Reed kept his name in headlines. The conversation shifted from his scores to his legal battles. This created a siege mentality he seemed to enjoy. Reed openly stated that people painted him as a villain, and he did not mind being the guy who wrecks everyone's day. That quote reveals everything. If he could not be loved, he would be hated, as long as people watched. Bryson DeChambeau weaponized annoyance into algorithmic gold. He entered golf as the scientist, wielding a physics degree and single-length irons. The branding was calculated from day one. Being the smart guy was marketable in a sport full of traditional jocks. But when that novelty faded, he pivoted. He became the annoying guy, and it worked better than anyone expected. The slow play wars made DeChambeau a household name for all the wrong reasons. In 2019, viral videos showed him taking over 2 minutes to hit a single 8-foot putt. He meticulously paced off 70-yard wedge shots while playing partners stood around waiting. When peers like Brooks Koepka and Eddie Pepperell criticized him, calling him an unaffected twit, DeChambeau doubled down. He attacked the PGA Tour's policy and confronted fans who heckled him. Every second he stood over a ball was a second cameras focused on him. He weaponized delay, understanding that slow play generated more attention than fast birdies. His feud with Brooks Koepka became a digital soap opera. DeChambeau made comments about Koepka having no abs. Koepka responded by posting photos of his trophies. Then came the leaked interview clip. Koepka Koepka rolled his eyes in visible disgust as DeChambeau walked past. That clip became the most viral golf meme of the decade. DeChambeau leaned into it, playing the heel to Koepka's jock. The rivalry drove ratings for exhibitions and created a sports entertainment narrative that felt more like professional wrestling than professional golf. DeChambeau's tendency to overdramatize reached absurd levels at LIV Golf Chicago in 2022. While walking under a gallery rope, the rope clipped his hat and eye. He dropped to his knees, clutching his face and screaming that he could not see. The commentary team seemed baffled. The incident was objectively minor, but DeChambeau acted like he had been shot. Peers mocked him on social media. Shane Lowry and Lee Westwood joked about the dangerous temperament of ropes. Once again, DeChambeau dominated conversation for a week, not because of a trophy, but because of a rope. Then came the smartest move of his career. DeChambeau realized his PGA Tour reputation was beyond repair, so he pivoted to YouTube. He launched content featuring Break 50 challenges with influencers like Mr. Beast and Donald Trump. By controlling the edit, he replaced the petulant slow player narrative with a fun, relatable genius persona. His channel gained 148,000 subscribers in a single month after his 2024 US Open win. DeChambeau understood modern fame better than anyone. If traditional media hates you, build your own media company. Greg Norman spent 30 years plotting revenge. The great white shark was famous for aggressive play, but his real legacy is corporate warfare. Norman understood early that a brand could outlast a swing. He built Great White Shark Enterprises into a global conglomerate, slapping his logo on wine, clothing, and real estate. But Norman did not just want to play in tournaments. He wanted to own them. That ambition created the longest grudge in golf history. In 1994, Norman attempted to launch a world golf tour to rival the PGA Tour. The establishment, led by Commissioner Tim Fincham, crushed the idea and threatened to ban any player who joined. Norman was humiliated. He never forgave them. For nearly 3 decades, he waited. His return in 2022 as CEO of LIV Golf was not a business opportunity. It was an act of vengeance. Using Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, Norman did what he could not do in 1994. He bought the sport out from under the PGA Tour. Norman dismantled the PGA Tour's monopoly by luring away players like Reed, DeChambeau, and Garcia with massive guaranteed contracts. He became the architect of golf's civil war, creating controversy unmatched in the sport's history. But pursuing this disruption required Norman to become the face of sports washing, the use of sports to rehabilitate a regime's reputation. When journalists pressed Norman about the murder of Jamal Khashoggi and Saudi Arabia's human rights record, he delivered one of the most callous lines in sports history. "Look, we have all made mistakes." That comment drew global condemnation. It revealed Norman's philosophy completely. The end justified the means. Destroying the PGA Tour was worth aligning with a controversial regime. Norman sacrificed his reputation as an elder statesman to become the CEO of chaos. He proved he would do literally anything, including excusing atrocities, to win his war against the establishment that rejected him decades earlier. These 5 players share a common thread. They chose notoriety over honor. Daly monetized his addictions. Garcia vandalized greens and spat in cups. Reed embraced cheating allegations as fuel. DeChambeau annoyed his way into algorithms. Norman burned the sport's structure for revenge. Each discovered that fame no longer required respect. It only required attention. The damage they caused is permanent. They eroded the etiquette that defined golf for a century, proving that controversy pays better than class. In an era where engagement is currency, they won. But their victories came at the expense of a sport that used to value something more than clicks and headlines. So here's the final question. Which one of these players do you think crossed the line the furthest? Was it Daly turning addiction into entertainment? Garcia damaging greens and making racist comments? Reed's pattern of alleged cheating? DeChambeau's calculated annoyance? Or Norman excusing human rights violations for corporate revenge? Drop your answer in the comments and let me know who you think did the most damage to golf.